Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The head of British Cycling has apologised for failings following accusations of bullying and sexism against top-level cyclists. An investigation into the culture of British cycling was launched last year and a report is imminent. Chairman Jonathan Browning said riders will now be better cared for. He added the organisation would also address concerns raised by MPs about doping. He's been talking to our sports editor, Dan Rowan.
For years, the story was one of success. British cycling defined by medals and glory. But now there's an image crisis amid a damaging tide of allegations. All have been denied, but today the man tasked with salvaging the governing body's reputation told me it was time for cycling to say sorry. Do you owe riders and staff an apology today?
We've already met with groups of both riders and staff, and we've made it very clear that where there's been failings, we apologise for those. We recognise them, but we're going to do something about them and move forward.
So there was a bullying culture then here at British Cycling?
I think there have been some well-reported instances where behaviour was unacceptable.
Today, with training here continuing as normal, British Cycling unveiled a 39-point action plan designed to overhaul governance and athlete welfare. It all stems back to last year when former sprint cyclist Jess Farnish complained about sexism and bullying amid a culture of fear at the sport's high-class performance programme. And she's not alone. A decade ago, Jenny Copnell was national mountain biking champion and says she was also a victim of discrimination at British Cycling.
I've certainly known of staff who have said to me down the years, and particularly when I retired, that they supported and they had felt bad for my situation but hadn't been able to say anything because they were worried about their job. The idea of job preservation was almost a joke amongst riders in the way that management behaved and decisions were made.
British Cycling's credibility was further damaged yesterday when MPs heard about a failure to keep records of medical treatments for riders.
So Bradley, if we could just have a quick chat, please.
It's my house.
The man at the centre of the storm, Sir Bradley Wiggins, today refusing to speak about the contents of a now infamous medical package delivered to him in 2011, and those who fund the sport are unimpressed. Your best funded and most successful governing body is in crisis, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot going on around British Cycling. There are a number of fires that seem to be going off in different areas, and it's difficult for them at this point in time. I was shocked and disturbed by what I heard yesterday, particularly around the area of medical management and medical record keeping.
These are dark days for the sport, and with publication of what's known to be an explosive report into cycling's culture expected in the coming weeks, lifting the gloom will not be easy. Well, it certainly felt recently at times like it's been meltdown here at the medals factory as this place has come to be known. And today, the organisation most held up as the flagship for British sport, British Cycling, was warned that it could be jeopardising millions of pounds worth of public funding unless it gets a grip and takes control of its various issues. I think there's a lesson, though, for other sports too, because British Cycling is symbolic, and there's a growing sense that the win-at-all-costs mentality has come perhaps at the expense of standards of behaviour when it comes to anti-doping, but also attitudes towards athletes, and the challenge for all sports now, perhaps, to put welfare as much of a priority as winning.
Dan Rowan in Manchester, thank you.
Still no answers from Sir Bradley Wiggins today. The British Olympic cycling champion has been dogged by questions about a mystery medical package he was sent 6 years ago. Anti-doping chiefs are investigating whether it contained a banned substance. And British Cycling isn't shedding much light on it either, as our sports correspondent Kemi Nzeram now reports.
At stake, the reputation of British Cycling, of Team Sky, and their biggest ever star, Sir Bradley Wiggins. Was he given a banned substance back in 2011, the evening he won an important race in the lead-up to the Tour de France? Wiggins says he'd been feeling unwell. Both he and his former boss, Sir Dave Brailsford, say he was given a legitimate and unrestricted decongestant. Dispatched from the official medical cabinet at the National Velodrome in Manchester, the headquarters of British Cycling, who are famed for their attention to detail. But they can find no proof, not a single record or prescription or receipt to back up their claim. They say, in fact, the files have been lost.
Have you asked Sir Bradley Wiggins what it was that he was administered?
I have not asked Bradley Wiggins. I've not been part of the investigation. That is a part of the role of UKAD, the anti-doping agency, and we are required not to interfere or participate in that investigation.
Yesterday, the UK's anti-doping agency sensationally confirmed that Wiggins, first British winner of the Tour de France and one of Britain's most successful Olympians ever, was implicated in an alleged anti-doping violation, along with the team doctor, Richard Freeman.
The anti-doping rule violation in question became about the contents of a package that was delivered to Dr. Freeman in France with the additional allegation that that package contained what's called triamcinolone, which is a glucocorticosteroid.
A steroid that in most circumstances is a prohibited substance. British Cycling have been forced to call in the health regulator to investigate their management of controlled drugs.
Looking at the testimony and the lack of evidence, it's all a bit dog eat my homework, isn't it?
Well, you can choose, whatever, phrase you prefer, but, it is clear that in this period of tremendous growth and expansion of the organisation, we did not have in place, or we lost some basic disciplines in terms of record keeping. That is going to be fixed. It is unacceptable not to be able to demonstrate that we are a clean organisation with appropriate record keeping.
British cycling's elite athletes are funded with public money via UK Sport. UK Sport say they have faith. The new leadership is on the right track, but if they can't prove they're clean, it's not just credibility they stand to lose.
How much funding do they risk losing if they don't get their house in order?
Well, if it's very serious, then the funding stops to bodies that we have no confidence in.
Confidence and trust. Hard to gain, easy to lose.